It started with a knock from the past. 3 months ago, a message appeared in my inbox. Polite, professional, and dripping with the kind of nostalgia I'd long since buried. Someone from my old high school wanted to know if I'd agreed to be interviewed by a current student. They wanted to feature me, celebrate me, show the world a former student who had gone on to publish books. On paper, it sounded flattering, but I knew the truth. My years at that school weren't something I looked back on with warmth. Still, I wrote back and agreed, with one condition. I told them outright that my time there hadn't been happy, but I'd be willing to keep the conversation focused on my career. When the day came, the student was bright-eyed, curious, and prepared. We talked about my writing process, about finding a voice on the page, about the strange rhythm of a creative life. It was going smoothly. Then the question shifted. She began to ask about my time at the school. I redirected, politely, firmly. She caught it. "I'm sensing you're hesitant to talk about your time here. Is that true?" Again, I tried to steer us back to the safe ground of literary themes and publishing deadlines, but she smiled, not unkindly, and said, "Actually, this might be a better story." Something in me gave way. Maybe it was the realization that I didn't owe the school anything. Maybe it was the knowledge that no one had ever truly listened before. I wasn't being paid. I didn't have to protect anyone's reputation. And though the wounds had scarred over, they had never fully healed. So I said yes. Let's talk about it. I began to tell her the truth. How the teachers at my school strongly favored the girls on the sports teams, laughing with them in hallways, cozy with their parents at school events, always ready to overlook their worst behavior. How I had tried to ask for help, again and again, only to be brushed aside. And then, the day I will never forget, a group of girls followed me around the school, mooing at me. Every hallway, every corner. Every time I thought I'd lost them, they were there again. I tried to ignore it, but eventually, I broke. Tears welled in my eyes. I turned to a teacher for help. She looked at me, smirked, and said, "All right, Mooley." The nickname stuck. For the rest of the year, she called me that in front of others. I corrected her, voice shaking. "My name is Molly." Molly. She didn't stop. Instead, when my frustration boiled over and I yelled, she had me suspended for a week. As I spoke, I could see the student's expression shift. First shock, then something more complicated. She kept writing. I kept talking. I mentioned names, not because I wanted revenge, but because I was telling my truth. When the interview ended, I felt strangely calm, a little lighter. I had no idea what would come next. She published the entire interview. It didn't go viral, not in the internet-breaking sense, but it spread. It landed in local Facebook groups where comments piled up by the hundreds. It stirred something in the community. And then the school called. The voice on the other end was an official, polished, polite, but edged with disapproval. I was chastised for bringing up old wounds, for trying to paint veteran teachers as bad people when they were already going through difficult times. The Mooley teacher, I was told, had a lifetime teaching award rescinded because of what I said. Then came the knife twist. Maybe I was remembering things wrong. It didn't stop there. Word reached old classmates, many of whom had stayed in town. They tracked me down. My inbox filled with messages telling me I'd ruined the school's reputation, tarnished the names of prominent community members. They told me it had been years, that I should just get over it. Some of their words dripped with the same casual cruelty I remembered from high school. It was the past come roaring back, unchanged. I sat with it, turning it over in my mind. It was true. It had been a long time. And yes, times are hard for teachers right now. I hadn't set out to hurt anyone. I was just telling my story. But now, a woman who once mocked a crying teenager had lost an honor she'd held for years. And people were asking me, was it worth it? I thought about the girl I had been, the one who learned early that her pain was an inconvenience to others, the one who was taught to be silent to protect the comfort of adults who had failed her, the one who walked out of that school with her self-worth shaken. The school wanted my story to inspire. They got that, just not in the way they planned. So, am I the asshole? Because to me, it feels like I was finally honest about what happened in those halls. Honest about the way adults can fail children. Honest about the fact that some wounds don't fade, no matter how much time has passed. I didn't seek them out. They came to me. And they asked for the truth. As your host, here's what I see. This isn't just about one interview, one teacher, or one school. This is about the quiet weight so many carry when their early experiences are dismissed, minimized, or rewritten by others. It's about what happens when we're finally given a microphone and the choice to either keep the peace or tell the truth. There's a reason this story hits a nerve. Because we've all been in a room where someone's comfort was valued more than someone else's dignity. We've all heard the words, "get over it," from people who never had to endure it. And the truth is, telling your story will not always bring you applause. Sometimes it will bring backlash. But it also creates a record, a piece of history that says, "This happened. I was there, and I won't be silent." So here's my question to you. If telling your truth means reopening old wounds, wounds you didn't create, do you keep quiet to protect those who hurt you? Or do you speak, knowing it might finally hold them accountable? I want to hear your thoughts.